Children become aware of cigarettes at an early age. 3 out of 4 children before the age of 5 are aware of cigarettes, irrespective of whether their parents smoked or not. Cheshire and Merseyside public health teams and partners came up with a new initiative to reduce children's exposure to smoking and denormalise tobacco use within the community. The initiative, Play Smoke Free, involved making children's playgrounds no smoking areas.
Smoke-free play areas has already been undertaken nationally, such as areas like New York and Vancouver in Canada and Spain. And locally in the northwest, Pendle had implemented this back in 2010. And through our Cheshire and Merseyside Tobacco Alliance, we worked with Holton, and they were keen to pilot this programme. So we decided to work with them as a pilot and then roll it out to the other 8 local authority areas across the sub-region.
The initiative adopted a true partnership approach.
There were lots of people involved in the planning. We had environmental health involved in the planning. We had trading standards involved in the planning. We had schools that helped us with it, and we went round to the schools and we asked them if they'd like to be involved in developing the signage, and all the schools ran a competition so that local children could join in and think about what they'd like on their sign for Smoke-Free Park. We also had public health involved in the planning and our tobacco control coordinator. And we also had local councillors on the tobacco control group, and he also supported us in it, and that was Keith Morley, who's councillor for Holton, one of the councillors.
We've always had a very good relationship with our colleagues at the health improvement team at the PCT, so we've worked on them on a number of projects like smoke-free homes and smoke-free cars. So this was just another example of us working with the PCT, and although responsibility for public health is coming to local government, I don't necessarily envisage there being huge changes in the way we work necessarily. It'll just provide more opportunity perhaps for departments within the council that haven't previously been involved in public health to become involved, like the parks and gardens people.
How did they achieve public support for smoke-free play areas?
CHAMPS, the Cheshire and Merseyside Public Health Network, they helped us to consult with the public to see if they would support it, and so we put messages out through the media, through local newspapers, to see if local residents would support it. We spoke to local councillors about it, as I said, and we decided that rather than trying to change legislation in the way that we originally thought we would have to, that we would go for a voluntary code, which just meant that we would ask people if they would not smoke in the park and volunteer not to smoke.
How did they achieve council support?
I think it helped that it was something that everybody thought was a great idea, from the parks and gardens people to elected members. Everybody was really supportive of it.
In practice, how did the public respond?
So with the sign is very visual, and I think what's really powerful about the sign is that it's designed by young people, so it's actually children asking people not to smoke in the parks, and I think that's powerful on its own. Alongside that, there was training of the Holton Park Wardens, so all the park wardens have been trained to be able to approach members of the public if they see them smoking, and approach them in a non-aggressive, diplomatic way, and ask them to refrain from smoking because it's the children's play area.
Was a voluntary code successful?
I think a voluntary code has been successful because it's what both councillors and the public wanted. And a voluntary code will basically empower local people themselves to not smoke in play areas and to change their own behaviour and self-regulate as well. And that's really important because it will make sure that it's sustainable into the future. Even smokers themselves do not want their children to smoke, so I think having a child-centred and a child-focused message has been really, really successful.
So how will it be rolled out across the area?
Holton have trailblazed the Play Smoke Free initiative, and it's been so successful that we're rolling it out to all 9 local authorities across Cheshire and Merseyside. Yes, We've also had inquiries from the Greater London Authority, from Cumbria and Lancashire councils as well, and they're looking to use this as a blueprint to roll it out across England per se. And that will really help, because the more areas that have this as a voluntary code, the more normal it will be not to smoke in a play area in front of children, and the public will comply greater.
There are many factors involved in creating a successful initiative, and Eileen OMara explains what she's learned in the process.
Yes, avoid working in a silo. Make sure that you've got all your partners on board and that the public know what you're going to do, that schools know what you're going to do, that environmental health know what you're going to do, that the park wardens know what you're going to do, and then everybody will support you in it and it will be easy to accomplish. And a great thing about this scheme is now that we've done it, this template can be used and you can roll it forward across the country so that all our parks become smoke-free.
What are the top tips for creating initiatives such as Play Smoke Free?
The top tip really is partnership working and utilising and maximising the skills, the different skill mix you have with all the different agencies, but also consulting the public themselves, because they're the ones who are going to have to change their behaviour and comply with this voluntary smoke-free code. So it's important to incorporate their views and needs into the initiative right from the start.
Make sure you get the media involved, get champs involved to help you. Work in a multi-agency way so that you've got everybody on side. Don't go for legislation, go for voluntary code. Get your local schools involved so that they're happy to support the scheme and use their art skills for producing the sign, and everyone will be happy.
I think it's important to have leadership on any initiative as well, particularly when you're trying to implement it across a geographically diverse population. You know, so an agency such as Heart of Mersey driving the initiative forward, and that ensures that it's a consistent standardised message across different areas and everyone in that population gets equitable access to it.
It may be early days for Play Smoke Free, but you can see how this approach has already made an impact and will work in the future to prevent children taking up smoking.